Newt Gingrich says that within a year, the entire legacy of the Obama years will be gone. Now, that's pretty evil, for lack of a better phrase. But where it gets really bizarre, let me just give you these, is the rationale that he uses. Now, those of you who have been watching this program for more than 6 or 8 years know how heavily we covered on this program the caucus room conspiracy. And again, something that you can Google or you DuckDuckGo or whatever search engine you want to use and easily find the stories on. Probably one of the very best was posted over at Daily Kos back in 2009 or 2010. As I recall, there was 14 members of Congress, Republican members of Congress, including Jim DeMint, who is then a senator. He's now running the Heritage Foundation, plus Newt Gingrich, plus Frank Luntz, got together at the Caucus Room restaurant. And the night that President Obama was inaugurated, January 20th, 2009, from his first term in office, they got together in this restaurant that was literally in the backside of the building that Louise and I lived in at the time, down at the corner of 9th Street and D Street, northwest here in Washington, D.C. They got together and basically swore a blood oath to each other that they were going to block absolutely everything President Obama did, even if it was things that Republicans wanted or traditionally had agreed with, in order to deny him any kind of legacy or any kind of, frankly, functional presidency. And then that was repeated. And Robert Draper wrote about this in a book called When the Tea Party Came to Town, which you can buy. It's in the introductory chapter. In fact, you can probably even read that part of it online, on Amazon or one of the other sources where you can preview a book. Or for that matter, it's, again, you can just Google Robert Draper and caucus room, and you'll find it. And then a month or so later, there was a similar debate that was held at one of the Koch brothers' billionaire retreats, where John Cornyn and Jim DeMint debated this. And John Cornyn, in the past, I've attributed this to Jeff Flake. I refreshed my memory. I looked this thing up, and no, I had it wrong. It was John Cornyn, the senator from Texas. Cornyn was taking the position that the Republicans should work with the Obama administration on those things that Republicans want to see happen. Which, by the way, the same debate is going on right now inside the Democratic Party. Do we work with the Republicans or not? And the Democrats, of course, are going to be inclined to work with the Republicans for the public good, because they have this absolute commitment to the public good. Republicans don't have an absolute commitment to the public good. They don't give a damn about the public good. As you heard an hour ago, if you get sick, what's the Republican health care plan? If number one, don't get sick. Number two, if you do, die quickly, because it's gonna wipe your family out, financially. So Jim DeMint was arguing we should fight him on everything. Don't allow him to have any legacy or any legislative successes. And John Cornyn was saying, no, we should only fight him on the things that we absolutely disagree with him on. And, according to reports from that meeting, Jim DeMint prevailed, and the billionaires all applauded that and said, okay, go do it. And this is basically what the Republicans have done for the last 8 years, right down to the point of denying President Obama even a hearing for a year, or nearly a year, on his nominee to be a member of the Supreme Court to replace Antonin Scalia. So we're all clear about this, right? It's not that President Obama didn't go to the legislature and say, hey, here's an idea. It's not that he didn't submit good legislation or propose good legislation. Nancy Pelosi submitted some really great legislation. She actually got through the House of Representatives, and it died in the Senate because of Republican filibusters, because of these two conspiracies, in my opinion. So here's what Newt Gingrich had to say yesterday on Fox News about President Obama and his legacy. He said, what you're watching is a man who realizes all of a sudden 90% of his legacy is going to disappear because he didn't do the hard work of passing legislation. Can you friggin' believe that? Newt Gingrich was in that meeting. Newt Gingrich came on this program And I don't have time to dig the clip out right now and play it for you, but you can easily find it. I mean, you can go to YouTube on our channel and just search for it. Newt Gingrich. I interviewed Newt Gingrich live on this program, and I said, you guys met at the caucus room. You know, you had this conspiracy to deny President Obama any opportunity to pass any legislation. Isn't that wrong? Isn't that immoral? And, oh, you've got it? Oh, here it is. Here's Newt Gingrich on this program.
And you were quoted in the book as saying that after this dinner, you'll remember this as the day the seeds of 2012 were sown. Is that all accurate?
Well, I'm part of.
So were you guys insurgents against the Obama presidency?
Well, the fact is, look, the opposition party ought to sit down and try to figure out how to get back in power. That's why they're the opposition party.
So, I mean, that was Newt's answer. And now he's saying, oh, Obama's legacy is going to go away because he didn't do the hard work of working with the legislature. Right? He says, starting the opening day when Trump starts to repeal all these executive orders, it's going to be like one of those balloons that deflates and down to a core of 10 or 15% of what he originally did, and the rest is all going to disappear within a year. Newt Gingrich talking about the Republican plan to destroy any legacy from our first African-American president. And mark my words, the African-American part before president has as much to do, in my opinion, with the fact that he is a Democrat. In the minds of these white Republicans who got together and conspired to destroy President Obama's legacy and his presidency. Anyhow, enough of my rants. We'll pick up your calls after the break. Stick around. We're coming up on 28 minutes past the hour.
You're listening to the Thom Hartmann Program. Call 202-808-9925.
Great Britain's Prince Charles just warned of a return to the dark days of the 1930s. I think he's right.